Habe tako epi. Betu este. Today, I'm going to talk about, once again, not only Obama, but the whole realization of what's happened to us. If we don't become critically minded and think about these things and put them in their proper perspective, irrespective of politics, irrespective of linear thinking. You know what linear thinking is? Looking straight ahead and you got the blinders on. What has happened in America and is continuing to happen? Why in the world aren't we infuriated about the bailout? That's a year ago. A year ago. And still, not one protest. I haven't seen any. I haven't been invited to any. And then the irresponsibility of Congress allowing that money to be let out. See, the House Ways and Means Committee, headed by Mr. Rangel, Charlie Rangel, whom I've met on more than one occasion, he supported a bill I had in Congress back in the 80s. At any rate, aside from that, he's headed the House and Ways Committee. And he hasn't expressed any outrage. And he allowed, see, the House Ways and Means Committee takes care of the Treasury of the United States for us. The House of Representatives has total control of the money. Because they're our representatives. How come he hasn't been impeached? How come that entire committee hasn't been impeached? How come there hasn't been a movement, man, to impeach all those that voted, that allowed that money, our money, to just be thrown away without accountability? Okay, feed your bosses, which are the bankers. Go ahead. But how about some accountability? No protests over that. No, nothing. And then you allow blatant racism. Even the athletes, no black athlete is not talking about racism because Obama made president. And yet they're making vicious racist attacks against him. Right or wrong, they're racist. Right or wrong, they're racist. Whether he's a good president or a bad president, makes no difference. They're playing the race card, and they have been, and you know it. The whole athletic, the professional athletic thing. Everybody's screaming about Vic. I know that's in the past tense, but it's a perfect example. And no one screams about Tom Brady not marrying the mother of his child and putting him up there as a role model. You know, in the era I grew up, that means he's fathered a bastard. But he's a hero. He's the quintessential American hero. Every black athlete is toasted and roasted, but not the whites. You know what? Look at Roethlisberger. And look what they did to the basketball player from LA. And you know who I mean? When he had sex with the white woman in Utah, Salt Lake City, the cameras followed him around for over a year. Daily reports in the sports pages and on the TV channels, ESPN. But not Roethlisberger. What's going on here? You know what's going on. Politics as usual. We do not grab a hold. What has happened to the American? All that struggle in the 18 and 1900s, the 19th and 20th centuries, that struggle to get decent wages. And then some of you people who call yourselves Republicans, you hate any kind of organization. Why can't you see that? You know, when I ran for governor of New Mexico, I went to the Republican convention on sovereignty. And down in Alamogordo, they have it every May and June. May. And it's pure white, no brown people there. There was one brown Mexicana woman married to a white man, and there was me. I was running for president. This was in 2002. This is after 9/11. Okay? After 9/11, it's 2002. Debbie, I forget her last name, she was in charge of the right-wing women's forum, the Eagle Forum out of Dallas, Texas, that Phyllis Schlafly founded. She was the keynote speaker. She got up there. Remember, this is 2002. The only major bill that was passed under then Bush's administration besides the war was about agriculture, $10 billion, of which 93% was going to the three major corporations that control agriculture in the world. And she called Bush, and I quote, a backstabber. She, unquote. She also called him a turncoat, unquote. He lied to us, unquote. And she blistered him in her speech about how he failed the family farmer and the family rancher. And what happens that fall? They all vote Republican. 2004, all those family farmers and family ranchers voted Republican. Hello? You got congressional proof, you've got executive proof that they spent your money, our money, on the three corporations and ignored and in fact put the death knell to the family farmer and family rancher. I remember when they protested in the 70s. They drove their tractors into Washington, D.C. I remember when the independent truckers did the same thing. They stopped and blocked the highways. I remember the union struggle in the 40s and 50s when they were being beat up, thrown in jail, in some instances killed, outright shot. This was the labor movement. Every time we've organized, the Republicans hated anything about us people organizing. It's not the Republican way. It's not for free enterprise, they call it. Capitalism. The market. BS on the market. You know what they did to us. Come on. Let's get real, folks. It's called protecting yourself. Don't wait till it's too late, which you already have. The Constitution of the United States means something. It really does. But it takes responsible people to make sure it lives up to its written word. You cannot allow what's been happening any longer. Otherwise, the Constitution is gone, as I am.